Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, and in this video, I want to give you my quick thoughts on Parasite, which is Bong Joon-ho's seventh movie. He's mainly known for Snowpiercer, which is a Chris Evans movie that came out a few years ago. He's also done The Host and a couple of other ones, but this is a South Korean movie that went to the Cannes Film Festival and won the Palme d'Or. And now it's in very limited release in the United States. I happen to live in LA, which is one of the places apart from New York that it is actually playing, but even that was kind of difficult to go see. And boy, just that in of itself, there was a lot of hype going into this movie, and I went to like a 9:30 a.m. screening, and it was practically sold out. In fact, I got my tickets 2 or 3 days in advance, and I barely could pick out a seat. You know, they have reserved seating. But anyway, I knew this film had a lot of hype. I did not know a lot about it. And in fact, you might be watching this, and I'm not going to go into spoilers, but many people have argued to me, don't even watch the trailer, go into this unsullied, don't know any of the premise. And so I had a completely fantastic experience because of that. Now, I did watch the trailer, but I am saying to you that if nothing else, what I'm going to say is this movie's absolutely fantastic. You should go see it. But now I'm going to get into kind of the premise, which again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it will sort of perhaps push you towards a direction to thinking what this movie is really about. And if you don't want that, then now's your final chance to take off. But check out some of my other videos, and also comment below in terms of how you learn about this movie and why you want to go see it, or maybe why you don't. But anyway, without further ado, so in terms of the plot, here's my thoughts. No, let me tell you what the plot is about. The plot is about a family struggling in Seoul, Korea, and the interesting part, right off the bat, you kind of learn that they're not lazy, but they're kind of like, victims of circumstance and so forth. And this is this movie is thematic of like us in the sense that it shows a dichotomy. You have this one family who's living very meagerly, and then there's a very rich family, and it almost kind of starts off as like a con movie where the son lies about being an English tutor and his credentials in order to get a job, and then very quickly they start to infiltrate that entire family by being able to kind of hire other people. There's the sister gets involved in terms of being an art tutor and so forth. Now, these are all things that I thought for a moment when I saw the trailer, that they were revealing too much in terms of the trailer. No. What I'm describing happens in the first 15 minutes. This movie's like 2 hours and close to 2 hours and 10 minutes, I want to say. And most of the stuff that you see in the trailer happens within that first 20 minutes, certainly. And what I appreciate, you're like, well, what's left to play out? And oh boy, is there so much. One of the brilliant things about this is the way it takes its time, what it's actually saying, and its big twists and turns. It's not a movie at all in terms of what you think's going to happen. You have to watch it to see what actually does happen. And there's, I haven't seen it a second time, but there's things layered in throughout that you think are throwaway bits, whether a shot or a dialogue and so forth, that plays so heavily into later on into the movie. It's just absolutely fantastic. And what I also love, he's not just telling a story through dialogue, he's telling it visually. Every shot is so well composed, and it means something. And it's like he creates this visual language, and he reuses certain shots where at one point in the movie early on, they have a certain significance. And by the end, they take on a whole different meaning. And I just absolutely love that. And there's just so much that went into this movie. And, the premise, you can see why it got a 6-minute standing ovation at the Cannes Film Festival and why it won the Palme d'Or. And what I appreciate, Neon picked this movie up for distribution, certainly in the U.S., and I like how they're kind of unrolling it out very, very slowly, and in that regard, it creates this buzz for it, and I think a lot of people want to see this movie. I certainly caught the bug, if you will, and wanted to go see it, and so I'm glad I did, and now I can kind of get to talk about it. I'm very excited for the discussion this movie prompts. Kind of, I think thematically it's tied to Us, Jordan Peele's movie, but also I really do like as much attention as Todd Phillips' Joker is getting. And because these movies came out in quick succession, at least for me, I got to see one pretty much right after the other within a couple weeks. This movie accomplishes what Joker wanted. And what I mean by that is I think Joker is a great film, but it's not a masterpiece. This to me is an absolute masterpiece. Like I said, everything means something. The dialogue is multi-layered. The cinematography says so much more. And I think like with the Joker, there's shots in there that happen where they're just kind of cool shots for the sake of being cool shots, but they don't signify anything deeper. This does at every level. And the cool part is this is the reason why this truly overtakes the Joker, in my opinion. Not that like they're the end all be all comparison, but again, I think I just can't help but think this is what the Joker was trying to say and be. The Joker was unrelenting and had one tone throughout the entire movie. And not to say that you can't ever do that. However, life is more than just black and white, right? There's shades of gray. In fact, there's so many shades of gray. And this movie manages to do that. There's humor, there's fear, there's tension, there's anger. And it does it in such a honest and human way. And I know that Joker is a comic book movie at the end of the day. Like, ultimately, it's called The Joker. But it could have had those same multi-layers and been grounded in that sort of realism that it was trying to attain. And I'm not saying like the jokes that happen in this are those types of jokes where you as an audience member are laughing, but you're like, I really shouldn't be laughing. But in the context, it's funny, and it's the only thing that kind of allows you to break tension in that moment. And also, too, like, it's not just an audience member laughing, it's also the characters in there. This doesn't spoil anything in it, or at least maybe a little bit, but, for the most part, like, life's kind of shit for the family that's not wealthy, right? And what you kind of learn from it, the few times that they get what they want, they're able to enjoy it and laugh about it. So, like, let's say 99% of their life is shit, but they still find the joy in the little things. And because of that, like, that to me is an honest reflection of life in a way that Joker just didn't capture. And I'm sorry that I'm making that comparison so heavy-handedly, especially if you haven't seen Joker, but I just can't help but make it because, many people are touting that movie as a masterpiece. And while I think it's a great movie, Parasite to me is the real masterpiece. I absolutely adore it. The acting is phenomenal from everybody. The music, as I said, the cinematography, and it is subtitled. It's a Korean movie, but again, visually you understand it. Even without having to kind of really read what's there. And the tones in it, like at times it's like a heist movie, at times it's an action movie. Like, again, it's a comedy movie. Like, it switches between these different genres, all within like even one scene. It's absolutely just brilliant. I can't give this movie praise enough. I give it a 10 out of 10, straight up. It's just, I haven't seen a better movie in many, many years. But if you have seen it, well, no, let's start here. If you haven't seen it, I highly encourage you to go see it when it becomes available. And once you have seen it, please comment below. Let's talk about this movie. This movie deserves to be talked about, and I want to talk about it with you. So please comment down below, and thanks for watching. Bye.